So, I'm not very old, right? Like, I don't know what kind of age energy I give off to y'all when y'all hear me talking shit about pixels, but my gaming experience only goes back to around the early 2000s. My first console and games that I played were on the PlayStation 1, and as a toddler, I played all the classics like Crash, Spyro, Driver, Tekken, all the GOAT games, and I didn't know what I was doing, obviously, but I was having fun playing the games, and it kept the hyperactive child that I was quiet for an hour or two, so my mom definitely approved. Fast forward to today in the current gaming world that we're all in. Every now and then, I still like to go back and play the classics I did as a kid, or even the ones I didn't play before from the same era, because in my opinion, I feel like playing through each time period of gaming can make you appreciate the medium more for what it is, rather than just, booting up a game and mindlessly playing. Plus, I don't think you're a certified gamer if you haven't played a classic game that made you restart your whole progress when you fail. Thank God for safe checkpoints now, but back then, all you had was the grace of God. But with these titles that we reminisce about so often, being older, depending on if you own the classic hardware that the game runs on or not, it could be a hassle to get your hands on some of these games in an accessible way compared to a modern day game. Now I'm sure that fact is pretty obvious. I mean, why would these companies still produce a 20-year-old game when we literally have consoles with no disk drive right now? But the people in the world who have a passion for preserving the older generation of gaming are in shambles right now because the Video Game History Foundation just released a study claiming that an alarming number of older titles are on the brink of extinction. Not like animal extinction, just the physical copies. You won't have to start breeding your GameCube collection or some shit like that. Now in the VGHF's latest blog post, they explain that around 87% of classic titles, which their definition of classic is anything before 2010, aka before the digital era, is in danger of being lost to time due to lack of availability. Now this 87% obviously doesn't count for the classic games that you can easily get from a subscription service or an online game store like how Nintendo has a bunch of classic NES titles on their platform, but instead the games that aren't brought to the new consoles and hardware through official distribution, which are the games that right now only have their physical copies and which for some of these titles can reach absurd prices to obtain. When speaking on the unavailable games, the VGHF says for accessing nearly 9 in 10 classic games, there are a few options. Seek out and maintain vintage collectible games and hardware, travel across the country to visit a library, or piracy. Now I don't know about those first two options, but something about that last option is just it's resonated with my soul. But jokes aside, these options for accessing the games isn't ideal. I mean, no one wants to spend absurd amount of money just to play an old game, or literally break the law just to play a game. I said no one wants to, I didn't say they wouldn't do it. But then there's a counter argument that shows that companies are aware of this fact of unavailable games and are using it to produce remakes and remasters. And well, yeah, that's 100% true, but it's honestly a double-edged sword when you think about it. On one hand, you can access the old games in a modern, reimagined way, but on the other, anyone fiending for that, original experience that they probably had as a kid or, just want to experience probably won't get that in these remakes or remasters. And honestly speaking, the people who do want that original experience isn't a large amount of people, at least when compared to those who'd rather take a remake with modern day graphics. And we all know that these companies are only going to follow where the money is, so unless there's a sudden uprising in the need for, original classic games, then I think remakes are the closest we're going to get to a lot of these titles. Now that is unfortunate to hear, especially for the fans who want to preserve these classic games, but it's not looking likely for us to get all of these games down the line. But hey man, if you don't like that outcome, just know that these games are still a click and a VPN connection away. I didn't say or condone anything, I just said a bunch of words, and if you catch my drift, then you know what to do. So what do you guys think about, classic games and their availability now, man? Feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, leave a like on the video, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.